Aiden never expected the letter to arrive. It came in an old creased envelope with his name written in flowing, careful handwriting, his grandmother's handwriting. He hadn't seen her in years. She had passed away quietly, leaving behind memories, old photo albums, and now, this. He tore the envelope open and pulled out a folded document. It was a will, a legal statement of her last wishes. Normally, such papers were dry and boring, but this one made Aiden blink twice. To my dear grandson, Aiden, if you are reading this, it means I have left this world behind. I have also left you something extraordinary. A ship waiting for you, and a map that shows the stars I once called home. Aiden stared at the words. A ship? A map to the stars? He laughed nervously. Grandma had always been eccentric, but she had never mentioned anything about being a star traveler. He thought she had spent her life quietly in the small town where he grew up. The letter came with instructions to visit a small hangar on the edge of the city. According to the document, the ship was hers, and now it would be his. Curiosity outweighed skepticism. Aiden packed a small bag, grabbed the letter, and drove to the hangar. The city streets melted behind him as he approached the outskirts, where buildings thinned and the night sky stretched wide and open. When he arrived, he saw it immediately, a sleek silver ship that gleamed even under the dim light of the hangar lamps. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal and strange markings ran along its hull. He had never seen anything like it. It looked more like something from a dream or a storybook about astronauts than anything real. Aiden's heart pounded. The hangar door creaked open, revealing the ship fully. It was bigger than he had imagined. He stepped closer and noticed small details, tiny handprints etched into the metal, delicate curves along the wings, and what looked like a name engraved near the cockpit. Stella Maris. Grandma, he whispered, unsure whether he was speaking to her memory or the ship itself. Inside the cockpit, screens flickered to life as he approached. A gentle hum filled the room as if the ship recognized him. On one of the consoles, a message appeared. Welcome, Aiden, I have waited for you. A shiver ran down his spine. The ship talked, or at least it displayed words meant for him. Aiden's curiosity turned into amazement. He ran his fingers along the controls. They were complex but intuitive, almost as if they were designed for him specifically. Beside the console lay a small, worn notebook. He picked it up and saw his grandmother's handwriting, neat, precise, and filled with notes about stars, planets, and strange coordinates. Some of the symbols were unfamiliar, almost alien, but the notebook exuded a warmth, a sense that these were memories, adventures, and lessons left just for him. Aiden spent hours exploring the ship. He found a small living area, a kitchen, and even a tiny greenhouse with plants that seemed to glow faintly. It felt alive, as though it had been waiting for someone to care for it again. Night passed and the hangar grew quiet, yet Aiden could not sleep. Questions whirled in his mind. Where had Grandma gone? How had she reached these stars? And what did she mean by home among the stars? By morning, he decided he had to try. He didn't know where to begin, but he knew the map was key. He spread it across the cockpit table. The map showed a series of star systems, marked with symbols and notes in his grandmother's handwriting. Some stars were circled. Others had tiny sketches of planets, moons, and strange constellations. He traced the lines with his finger. One name stood out, Aurora Cluster. Aiden had never heard of it, but the excitement in his chest made him forget fear. Somehow he knew this was the first place he had to go. But leaving Earth wasn't simple. Aiden had never piloted a real spaceship before. All he had was intuition and the instructions left by his grandmother. Still, he felt a strange confidence, as if the ship itself was encouraging him. He activated the engines. They hummed to life with a smooth, gentle power. The ship's lights reflected in his wide eyes, and a display flashed, ready for departure. Aiden took a deep breath. He could almost hear his grandmother's voice. The stars are not just for looking at, Aiden. They are for understanding, for reaching. Humans can do more than they imagine. With trembling hands, he lifted the lever. The ship glided forward, rolling smoothly out of the hangar. The city shrank behind him as he rose into the sky. He felt weightless, free, and terrified all at once. The first few hours were a blur. He learned to navigate by instinct, following the map and the ship's internal guidance. The stars above were brighter than he had ever seen. Nebulas painted the sky with colors that did not exist on Earth. and distant planets glimmered like jewels in the vast darkness. During this time, Aiden discovered the first hint of what made humans unique among the stars. He noticed small details, patterns in the stars, subtle shifts in light, even tiny gravitational tugs that the ship's AI couldn't detect. Yet he could sense them. His mind, human and adaptable, found ways to solve problems the ship could not predict. Late into the journey, a small alarm sounded. The display showed a cluster of asteroids drifting directly in his path. The ship's automated system suggested a standard evasive maneuver, but Aiden hesitated. Something in his grandmother's notebook caught his eye, a sketch of similar-looking asteroids, with notes about their patterns. Relying on intuition and memory, he adjusted the ship manually, weaving through the rocky field. The hum of the engines rose and fell in harmony with his heartbeat. The AI displayed a message. Unusual navigation detected. Human input successful. Aiden grinned. Humans were clever. They could notice things, improvise, and adapt in ways machines could not. That realization filled him with pride and awe. His grandmother had known this. She had trusted humans, him, to navigate the stars in ways that no one else could. By the time the asteroid field cleared, Aiden felt a strange calm. He floated in the cockpit, looking at the endless galaxy before him. He thought about the stories his grandmother used to tell, of places humans could not even imagine, of the courage it took to explore the unknown. Now he was living them. Hours later, he activated the map again. The first destination in the Aurora cluster glimmered on the screen. Aiden set the course, and the ship responded immediately, accelerating smoothly into the void. The hum of the engines became a steady companion, like a heartbeat echoing through the cabin. Aiden thought of his grandmother one last time before resting. He whispered, "I'll find your stars, Grandma. I'll see your home." As the ship sailed into the endless night, Aiden realized something profound. The journey was not just about exploring space. It was about exploring the human spirit, the ability to wonder, to create, to adapt, and to care. Those were the traits that had brought humans this far, and those were the traits that would guide him forward. The stars awaited, endless and bright, and Aiden, with a ship and a map left by the woman who had inspired him, was ready to reach them. Aiden had never imagined that leaving Earth could feel both thrilling and terrifying at the same time. The ship glided smoothly through space, carrying him farther from everything he had ever known. Outside the cockpit, stars stretched endlessly, shining brighter than he had ever seen. Each one seemed like a distant promise, a hint of adventure waiting to unfold. The Aurora cluster was the first destination on his grandmother's map. According to the notes she had left behind, this cluster held planets that no human had officially recorded. Yet Grandma had visited them, explored their secrets, and left her marks for him to find. Aiden studied the star map carefully. Symbols marked each system, some circled, some with tiny sketches of moons and rings. A few had annotations like danger, caution, or beautiful, take note. He ran his finger along the map. Every line felt like a path leading him closer to his grandmother's life among the stars. The ship hummed softly beneath him, almost as if it understood the excitement in his heart. The AI console flickered and displayed a message. Human pilot detected. Assistance ready if needed, Aiden smiled. Thanks, he said aloud. Though he didn't need the help yet, he appreciated knowing the ship was there, ready to guide him if things got difficult. The first challenge came sooner than he expected. As he entered the outer edge of the Aurora cluster, a field of floating debris appeared on the sensors. Pieces of rock and small asteroids drifted lazily but densely across his path. The ship's AI suggested a simple evasive maneuver, turn sharply and accelerate. But Aiden hesitated. He remembered a note in his grandmother's notebook about asteroid fields, something about observing patterns before reacting. He slowed the ship slightly and studied the field. The rocks moved in a rhythm, almost like a dance. Using his intuition, Aiden carefully adjusted the ship's thrusters, weaving through the gaps. The hum of the engines changed as he maneuvered, rising and falling like it was responding to his every move. Finally, the last of the rocks passed, and the path ahead was clear. Aiden exhaled deeply. Human intuition beats automatic calculation sometimes, he muttered with a grin. He could almost hear his grandmother laughing, proud that he had trusted his instincts. As he ventured deeper into the cluster, Aiden noticed unusual readings on the ship's sensors. Small, faint signals were coming from a nearby planet. The readings weren't dangerous, but they were intriguing. He decided to investigate. The planet appeared as a pale blue and green marble, orbiting a star that shone faintly in the distance. Its surface looked calm from space, but the sensors indicated strange structures scattered across the terrain. They were not natural formations. Something or someone had built them. Aiden's curiosity spiked. He adjusted the ship's descent thrusters and entered the planet's atmosphere. Clouds swirled around him as he guided the ship carefully toward the surface. The view was breathtaking. Vast forests stretched as far as he could see, interrupted by tall, angular structures that gleamed in the sunlight. They looked ancient, worn by time, yet somehow intact. He landed on a flat plateau near the structures. The engines powered down, leaving only the soft hum of the ship's life systems. Aiden stepped outside, breathing in the alien air. Surprisingly, it smelled faintly sweet, like earth after rain. His eyes wandered over the landscape. The structures seemed designed for observation, towers, platforms, and domes that might have once been filled with knowledge or technology. Pulling out his grandmother's notebook, Aiden compared the sketches to the real scene. She was here, he whispered. She really was. The thought filled him with awe. Grandma had walked these same grounds, explored these same mysteries, and now he was following in her footsteps. The first structure he approached was a dome, partially collapsed but still impressive. Inside he found panels covered in symbols and lights that flickered faintly. He touched one of the panels, and to his surprise it reacted, glowing brighter under his hand. The ship's console buzzed. Environmental analysis indicates residual human interaction patterns. Aiden's eyes widened. Residual interaction, he asked. The AI's message continued. Your biological patterns show curiosity and problem-solving tendencies similar to recorded humans. System responds to these traits. He realized that these structures were built with intelligence, perhaps designed to be used or understood by beings who could think, adapt, and feel, traits humans excelled at. His heart swelled with pride. Humans might be fragile compared to machines or other species, but they had qualities that could unlock mysteries no one else could. Aiden spent hours exploring the structures. He found panels that displayed star charts, maps of entire galaxies, and recordings of energy patterns. Using his grandmother's notes as a guide, he pieced together clues about her travels. Each discovery deepened his connection to her and strengthened his resolve to continue the journey. Night fell on the planet. The sky was alive with stars, brighter and more numerous than he had seen from Earth. The aurorae cluster glimmered like a sea of diamonds. Aiden sat on a rock, notebook in hand, and reflected. He realized that space travel wasn't just about technology or navigation. It was about observation, creativity, and understanding, skills humans had in abundance. Machines could calculate, but humans could imagine. Humans could feel and reason and notice patterns others might miss. That was why his grandmother had left him this mission. Not because he had training or experience, but because he had the human mind to explore, adapt, and understand. A faint sound from the ship drew his attention. He returned to the landing site and entered the cockpit. The AI displayed a message. Unusual energy reading detected, suggesting investigation. Aiden studied the reading. It pointed to a small structure a few kilometers away, half buried in the soil. Something inside it was still active, though faintly. He suited up and set out on foot, carrying a portable scanner and a sense of excitement. The structure was smaller than the others, like a control hub or laboratory. The door slid open automatically as he approached, revealing an interior filled with panels, screens, and holographic projections. Symbols floated in the air, shifting and changing. Aiden stepped carefully, observing and comparing the projections to his grandmother's notes. One hologram stood out, a star map identical to the one in his ship, but more detailed. Lines connected distant stars, some with glowing markers that pulsed gently. Aiden recognized the patterns. These were the same systems his grandmother had marked. He touched one of the markers, and the hologram responded, displaying a view of a distant planet, with mountains, rivers, and cities alien, yet somehow familiar in design. Aiden felt a thrill. He was seeing places humans had never visited, guided by his grandmother's knowledge and intuition. Hours passed as he explored the holographic systems. He recorded everything in his notebook, taking notes for future reference. By the time he returned to the ship, he had learned more about the Aurora cluster than most humans could dream of. As he prepared to leave the planet, he paused. Looking back at the structures, he felt a connection, not just to his grandmother, but to all the humans who had explored, learned, and left traces across the stars. The human spirit, he realized, was stronger than any technology. It was curiosity, courage, and persistence that allowed humans to reach beyond their limits. The ship hummed as he entered the cockpit. He set the course for the next star system, excitement and anticipation mixing with nervousness. Ahead lay unknown worlds, challenges, and discoveries. But Aiden was ready. He had a ship, a map, and the determination of a human who believed in exploration, knowledge, and adventure. As the engines roared to life, Aiden whispered, "Let's see what's next, Grandma. I'll make you proud." And with that, the ship accelerated into the vast, glittering expanse of the Aurora cluster, carrying its human pilot toward mysteries, wonders, and a future only a human mind could imagine. Aiden's journey through the Aurora cluster had taught him something crucial. Humans were not just explorers. They were observers, problem solvers, and learners. Each step he took on the alien planets reinforced this truth. Yet nothing could prepare him for the discovery that awaited him in the next system on his grandmother's map. The star system appeared on the ship's sensors as a cluster of glowing suns, surrounded by orbiting planets of varying sizes. One planet in particular drew his attention, a massive world with rings of crystal-like ice, spinning slowly as if it held a secret in its orbit. His grandmother had marked this planet with a symbol he hadn't fully understood before, a triangle enclosing a star. Aiden set a careful course toward the planet. As he approached, the ship's sensors picked up faint signals, almost like echoes. The signals were irregular but consistent enough to suggest intelligence. His heart raced. He had read about alien signals before, but this felt different. It felt personal, as if someone or something was trying to communicate. The atmosphere of the planet was thick and golden with swirling clouds that reflected the light of the nearby suns. Aiden navigated through the clouds carefully, the ship's thrusters humming in response to his precise movements. Landing on a flat plateau, he stepped out and immediately felt the weight of history. The ground beneath him was covered in structures, ancient and massive. Towers reached high into the sky and domes dotted the landscape. It looked like a city frozen in time. A faint energy pulsed through the planet, and the sensors indicated that some of the systems were still active, though dormant for centuries. Aiden's eyes widened as he explored. He discovered halls lined with intricate carvings depicting beings and humans together. It seemed that long ago humans, or at least beings similar to them, had visited this system. Perhaps his grandmother had left these marks too in some subtle way. As he examined the structures, the ship's AI displayed a message. Warning: environmental anomalies detected. Exercise caution. Aiden paused. Anomalies could mean unstable terrain, strange energy fields, or defensive systems left behind by the creators of this planet. Yet curiosity pushed him forward. Humans had always thrived on exploring the unknown, and he was no exception. Inside one of the domes, he found a room that seemed like a control center. Panels and screens flickered to life as he entered. The holographic displays showed star maps, energy flows, and strange symbols he had never seen before. Aiden carefully compared them with his grandmother's notes, realizing that she had once navigated these very systems. One of the panels displayed a puzzle-like mechanism, glowing faintly as if waiting for a mind capable of solving it. Aiden studied it, noticing patterns that the ship's AI could not fully analyze. Using logic, intuition, and imagination, a uniquely human combination, he manipulated the controls. Slowly, the mechanism began to respond, and a hidden compartment opened, revealing a small orb pulsing with light. The orb floated gently in the air, responding to his presence. Aiden reached out and touched it. Information flooded his mind, not in words but as images and feelings. He saw planets, stars, and civilizations long gone. He saw his grandmother exploring these worlds, recording her discoveries, leaving her legacy behind. Aiden realized that this was her gift, knowledge not stored in books or machines, but in experience, observation, and memory. Humans could take what they learned, combine it with intuition, and create understanding where others could not. That was why his grandmother had trusted him. The orb's glow faded, leaving behind a faint map etched into his mind. Aiden returned to the ship and input the coordinates into the navigation system. The next location on the map was farther than any human had traveled before, but he felt ready. As he prepared for departure, a sudden tremor shook the ground. Dust fell from the ceilings and the walls of the dome groaned. Aiden rushed back to the ship, realizing that the planet itself might be unstable. Just as he reached the cockpit, a section of the plateau collapsed, revealing a deep chasm where the city had once extended. Aiden's heart pounded. Humans had survived countless challenges on Earth, but space offered tests unlike any other. He activated the ship's engines and lifted off just as the ground crumbled beneath him. From above, the city looked smaller, yet more mysterious. He had uncovered only a fraction of its secrets. The next leg of his journey took him through asteroid belts and dense meteor clouds. Unlike before, these obstacles were more dangerous. The ship's AI suggested calculated maneuvers, but Aiden noticed subtle variations in the patterns that the AI could not detect. Trusting his instincts, he adjusted the thrusters, weaving through the hazards with precision. Each successful maneuver reminded him why humans were unique: adaptability, creativity, and courage. After several hours, he emerged from the asteroid belt into a region of calm space. A faint blue planet hovered in the distance, marked on his grandmother's map with a symbol that resembled a tree. According to her notes, this world was important, not for its danger, but for the knowledge it contained. Aiden descended through the atmosphere and landed near a river that glimmered under twin suns. The water reflected the sky in a way that felt almost magical. On the riverbank, he discovered ruins overgrown with strange plants. The structures were smaller, simpler, but filled with intricate carvings. Studying the carvings, he realized that they told a story, an ancient story of exploration, learning, and discovery. The beings who had lived here valued curiosity, understanding, and cooperation. These were values humans also possessed, which explained why his grandmother had been drawn to these worlds. Aiden spent the night on the planet, documenting everything in his notebook. He traced the carvings, mapped the ruins, and recorded energy readings. By the time he was done, he felt a profound sense of connection, not just to his grandmother, but to humans as a species. They had the ability to understand, adapt, and persevere in ways that were rare and special in the galaxy. The next morning, Aiden prepared to continue. The ship's sensors picked up faint signals from a nearby cave system. According to his grandmother's notes, this was a place of learning, an archive left behind by an ancient civilization. He couldn't resist. Humans had always been seekers of knowledge, and he intended to continue that tradition. Inside the caves, he discovered technology far more advanced than anything he had seen. Panels, lights, and screens hummed with dormant energy. Using his grandmother's guidance, he activated the systems, revealing holographic records of star systems, alien species, and even Earth's place in the galaxy. Aiden realized the importance of his mission. Humans had potential that no one had fully understood. They could explore, learn, and leave a mark on the universe. His grandmother had known this. She had trusted him to carry that legacy forward. Hours later, he returned to the ship, his mind filled with new questions and ideas. The journey was far from over. The next destination promised greater challenges, but Aiden felt ready. He had seen firsthand that humans could adapt, understand, and succeed where others might fail. That knowledge gave him strength. As the engines roared to life, he looked out at the glowing stars of the Aurorae cluster. His grandmother's map was more than just a guide. It was a reminder that humans were capable of wonder, courage, and brilliance. Aiden whispered, "I'll make it to the end, Grandma. I'll find your home among the stars." And with that, the ship accelerated, carrying Aiden deeper into the mysteries of the galaxy, guided by the intuition, creativity, and resilience that made humans truly remarkable. Aiden's journey had carried him farther than he ever imagined. Every star he visited, every world he explored, brought him closer to understanding his grandmother's life among the stars. Yet nothing could have prepared him for what lay ahead, the heart of the map. The next destination appeared on the console, marked by a symbol his grandmother had drawn, a glowing spiral intertwined with a tiny star. According to her notes, this system was special, hidden from ordinary charts. It was a place she called home among the stars. Aiden set the ship on course. The engines hummed steadily and the stars outside shimmered as if guiding him forward. As he approached the system, he noticed a series of energy fields surrounding a distant planet. They formed a complex labyrinth in space, twisting tunnels of light, shifting barriers, and invisible obstacles. Most explorers would have turned away, yet Aiden felt determination. Humans were problem solvers. Humans could notice patterns others missed, and he had his grandmother's guidance. He studied the labyrinth carefully. Each twist of light seemed to follow a rhythm, almost musical in its precision. Aiden tapped into his instincts, recalling his grandmother's notes about patience, observation, and trust. He aligned the ship's sensors with the pulses of energy, moving slowly, carefully, and deliberately. Hours passed. The labyrinth shifted, forcing him to adapt with each movement. The ship's AI offered suggestions, but Aiden often ignored them, following intuition and observation instead. Small gaps appeared in the energy walls, revealing pathways that only someone patient and creative could see. Humans, he realized, had a gift for persistence and imagination that machines could never fully replicate. Finally, the ship emerged from the labyrinth into a serene expanse of space. A planet floated ahead, bathed in golden light. Its surface glowed with colors he could not name, shifting and changing as if alive. This was it, the heart of the map, the place his grandmother had called home. Aiden landed near a crystalline river that shimmered in the planet's light. The air was warm and fragrant, unlike any planet he had visited. Flowers glowed faintly along the banks, and trees with translucent leaves swayed gently in an unseen breeze. The world felt alive, vibrant, and welcoming. As he explored, Aiden discovered structures unlike any before, towers that spiraled into the sky, bridges that glowed with soft light, and platforms that floated above the ground. Each structure seemed designed to teach, guide, and inspire. It was clear that his grandmother had found something extraordinary here, something that connected humans to the wider universe in ways that could not be explained simply. Among the structures, Aiden found a central dome. Its surface was etched with symbols similar to those on the map, but more intricate and detailed. Stepping inside, he felt a strange energy pulse through him. The dome was filled with holographic projections, images of stars, planets, and beings of all shapes and sizes. Some of the projections showed humans interacting with these worlds, discovering, learning, and leaving traces of their curiosity. In the center of the dome, a holographic figure appeared. At first it seemed abstract, a projection of light and patterns. Then slowly it took the form of his grandmother. Aiden's heart skipped a beat. "Welcome, Aiden," the figure said. Though the voice was digital, it carried warmth, familiarity, and love. "I knew you would come. I knew you would see this place for yourself." Aiden felt tears prick at his eyes. "Grandma, I can't believe this is real." The hologram smiled. "It is real because humans can make it real. You are here because you have the same qualities I saw in you as a child: curiosity, courage, and the ability to see patterns where others see chaos. These are the traits that allow humans to explore and understand the universe." Aiden listened intently as the hologram explained. The planet, the labyrinth, and the structures were all part of a system designed to record knowledge, preserve wisdom, and reward persistence. Only those with human intuition and determination could unlock its secrets fully. His grandmother had done so in her time, leaving markers, notes, and the map to guide him. As he explored further, Aiden discovered chambers filled with star charts, recordings of alien worlds, and holographic libraries that contained centuries of knowledge. The information was overwhelming yet thrilling. It was not just data. It was understanding, insights, and lessons that no machine could teach. Humans could interpret, connect, and apply knowledge in ways that were unique. Hours passed as Aiden wandered the planet. He decoded symbols, explored floating gardens, and activated mechanisms that revealed hidden paths. Each discovery strengthened his belief in the human spirit. Machines could calculate, aliens could observe, but humans could imagine, empathize, and adapt. That was what made them extraordinary. Then a faint tremor shook the ground. Aiden looked up to see the central dome glowing brighter. The energy from the planet seemed to respond to him. It was as if the world recognized his presence, his curiosity, and his determination. Aiden realized that this was a test, not of strength or skill, but of character. The planet, the structures, and the labyrinth were designed to respond to those who embodied the qualities of humanity. The hologram of his grandmother spoke again. "Remember, Aiden, humans leave marks not by force but by understanding. The galaxy rewards those who see, feel, and create. Your journey is not only for yourself, it is for all humans. You have the ability to inspire, to explore, and to leave a legacy. Aiden felt a surge of pride and responsibility. He had always wondered why his grandmother left him this mission. Now he understood. It was not simply an adventure. It was a continuation of humanity's potential among the stars. As he explored the outer regions of the planet, he encountered a chamber unlike any other. Inside was a crystalline map that displayed the entire galaxy, with lines connecting stars, planets, and systems. Some of the lines pulsed gently, guiding him to places humans had never reached. He traced them with his fingers, feeling the connections as if they were part of a living web. Then he noticed one last marker, a small, unassuming planet at the edge of the galaxy. It was marked with a tiny star, labeled in his grandmother's handwriting, where it all began. Aiden realized that this would be the ultimate destination. It was a place of beginnings, discovery, and perhaps answers to questions he had not yet thought to ask. The planet represented human potential, the ability to explore, learn, and leave a mark on the universe. Before leaving the planet, Aiden activated a recording left by his grandmother. Her holographic presence appeared once more. Use what you have learned, Aiden. Trust your instincts. Human curiosity, creativity, and courage will guide you where no one else can go. And remember, the stars are only the beginning. With that, the recording faded. Aiden returned to the ship, feeling both excitement and a deep sense of purpose. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries, but he had the tools, the guidance, and the human spirit to face them. He set a course for the final planet marked on the map, the place where his grandmother's journey had begun. The engines roared to life, carrying him into the unknown, yet with a confidence he had never felt before. As he looked back at the glowing planet behind him, Aiden realized something profound. The journey was as important as the destination. Every challenge, every discovery, every moment of curiosity had strengthened him. Humans were explorers not because of technology alone, but because of heart, mind, and determination. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, but Aiden no longer felt small or afraid. He carried with him the legacy of his grandmother, the wisdom of the hidden worlds, and the strength of the human spirit. And with that, he whispered to the stars, "I'm ready, Grandma. Let's see where humans belong in this universe." Aiden's heart raced as he approached the final planet on his grandmother's map. It was small, almost unassuming, but glowing faintly in the distance. The notes she had left suggested that this was the place, where her journey had truly begun, a secret she had never revealed to anyone else. The planet's surface shimmered like polished metal under the light of a nearby star. Strange patterns glowed faintly along its valleys and mountains, as if the planet itself was alive and waiting for someone to discover it. Aiden guided the ship carefully, remembering everything he had learned on his journey: patience, observation, and the human ability to adapt. Landing was easier than he expected. The surface was firm, yet the glow beneath his feet gave him the feeling that he was stepping onto something extraordinary. He opened the ship's hatch and stepped out, feeling a pulse of energy through his body. This planet was different from any he had visited. It was quiet yet vibrant, alien yet strangely familiar. As he explored, Aiden discovered ruins, small, simple structures that contrasted with the grand cities of the previous planets. They seemed humble, yet every wall, floor, and ceiling held carvings, lights, and patterns that hummed faintly. He realized that this place had been a training ground, a repository of knowledge, and a test of human ingenuity. Walking deeper into the ruins, Aiden noticed a central chamber. Its walls were lined with crystals, each glowing softly, and in the center of the room stood a pedestal. On it rested a small glowing sphere. His grandmother's notes called it the core of understanding. Aiden approached carefully, his fingers trembling slightly as he reached out. The moment he touched the sphere, visions filled his mind. He saw his grandmother as a young woman, stepping onto this very planet for the first time. He saw her learning, exploring, and documenting everything with care and curiosity. She had discovered the secrets of the planet, not through force or technology alone, but through observation, patience, and the uniquely human ability to connect patterns and ideas. Then, the vision shifted. Aiden saw himself following her footsteps, learning and discovering in ways she could never have imagined. He realized that this planet was more than a destination. It was a mirror of human potential. It showed that humans with curiosity, courage, and creativity could leave a mark on the universe that no one else could replicate. The sphere pulsed gently, and a soft voice echoed in his mind. Aiden, the universe is vast and humans are small, but the human spirit is limitless. Use what you have learned, share it, explore, inspire, and never forget that your journey is both yours and everyone's who dreams beyond the stars. Aiden felt tears well up in his eyes. The words were not just advice, they were a call to action. He had followed his grandmother's map, learned her lessons, and discovered the truth. Humans were capable of remarkable things, not because of advanced technology alone, but because of heart, mind, and determination. He spent the next several hours exploring the planet. He examined the carvings, activated the subtle mechanisms, and recorded everything in his notebook. Each discovery reinforced the lesson he had learned over his journey. The universe was vast and full of mysteries, but humans could meet those challenges through creativity, adaptability, and courage. As he wandered, he noticed a small chamber partially buried in the ground. Inside, he found logs left by his grandmother, messages recorded for him alone. In them, she spoke of the importance of hope, perseverance, and the human ability to inspire. She reminded him that every discovery mattered not just for himself, but for all who would follow. Aiden realized that his mission was not over. This planet, this sphere, and these records were not meant to be kept secret. They were meant to guide humans into the galaxy, to remind them of their potential and to encourage exploration, learning, and cooperation. He returned to the ship with a renewed sense of purpose. The galaxy stretched out before him, full of worlds he had yet to explore and mysteries he had yet to uncover. He was no longer simply following his grandmother's footsteps. He was continuing her legacy, expanding it and creating his own story among the stars. Before departing, he set up a small recording on the ship. In it, he spoke of his journey, the discoveries he had made, and the lessons the universe had taught him. He included detailed coordinates, maps, and insights, ensuring that any human who found it could learn, explore, and be inspired. As the engines powered up, he took one last look at the glowing planet. It had given him knowledge, perspective, and a connection to his grandmother that would guide him forever. Aiden whispered softly, "Thank you, Grandma. I will continue where you left off." The ship lifted off smoothly, leaving the planet behind. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. Aiden set a course for the unknown, ready to encounter new worlds, civilizations, and challenges. Every star, every planet, every mystery was a chance to learn, to grow, and to prove that humans were capable of remarkable things. During the voyage, Aiden reflected on the journey. He thought about the asteroid fields he had navigated, the alien structures he had explored, and the lessons he had learned from the stars themselves. He realized that humans had a unique place in the universe, small, yet capable of extraordinary insight and courage. The ship hummed in quiet approval, a companion on his journey. Its lights reflected in Aiden's eyes as he stared out at the endless galaxy. He could see possibilities everywhere, new planets to explore, signals to decipher, and civilizations to understand. Humans, he knew, had the tools to meet these challenges, not just through technology, but through imagination, empathy, and determination. Days passed as he traveled through new star systems. Each world brought surprises, beautiful landscapes, mysterious ruins, and hints of life. Aiden documented everything, eager to learn, record, and share. He felt a deep connection to humanity, understanding that each human mind had the potential to change the universe in small or profound ways. Then, one evening, as he drifted near a cluster of bright nebulae, the ship's sensors detected something unusual, a faint signal, almost like a heartbeat pulsing through the void. Aiden studied it carefully, noticing its rhythm and pattern. It was subtle yet distinct. His grandmother's teachings came to mind: patterns, observation, and intuition. Humans could perceive these signals in ways that machines could not. Following the signal, he discovered a small moon orbiting a distant gas giant. On its surface, faint lights glimmered as if beckoning him closer. Landing the ship, Aiden approached the lights cautiously. He found structures unlike any he had seen, delicate towers that glowed softly, paths that seemed to guide him naturally, and carvings that told stories of explorers who had come before. Aiden realized that humans were not alone in their drive to explore. Other civilizations, too, had sought knowledge, understanding, and connection. Yet it was human ingenuity, creativity, and courage that allowed him to navigate these mysteries, interpret the signals, and continue his journey. He spent time documenting the moon, recording its features and decoding its messages. It became clear that this place was meant to inspire explorers like him, beings capable of curiosity, empathy, and perseverance. Humans had qualities that made them not only capable of surviving among the stars, but thriving, understanding, and inspiring others along the way. Finally, Aiden returned to the ship, setting coordinates for a new uncharted system. He felt a sense of peace and excitement. The journey that began with his grandmother's inheritance had transformed him. He had discovered not only the secrets of the galaxy, but the power and potential of humans themselves. As the ship accelerated into the unknown, Aiden whispered, "This is just the beginning. There is so much more to see, learn, and explore. Humans will leave their mark, just like Grandma dreamed." And with that, the ship sailed into the endless expanse of stars, carrying a human pilot whose heart, mind, and courage reflected the very best of humanity. Aiden knew that wherever the journey took him, humans would continue to explore, discover, and inspire, one star, one planet, and one adventure at a time.